Starting off our list, number 10 is Heath Ledger. In 2008, the world suddenly had to mourn the loss of the talented young actor who passed away tragically at the age of 28. News articles broke saying that he was found by his masseuse and housekeeper on the floor of his rented apartment in Soho, New York. It was said that emergency crews arrived not long after his body was first found, and they tried to revive him but were unsuccessful. The media started speculating on the cause of his passing, with claims that it may have been an overdose. It wasn't until 2 weeks later that the New York City Medical Examiner's Office released the results of toxicology tests that were performed on his body. The report stated that he passed of an accidental of prescription medications. His family ended up taking his body back to their native Australia, and he was buried next to his grandparents in his hometown, Perth. Taking over the number 9 spot is Mac Miller. It was back in 2018 when the world first heard the horrible news that the rapper had passed away at 26 years old. His passing was ruled as an accidental substance overdose, but there was still a lot of speculation surrounding the situation. A toxicology report released a statement that said he passed due to an accidental overdose of 2 different substances and alcohol. In 2019, 3 men were charged in connection to his passing. One man for allegedly selling counterfeit OxyContin pills that were laced with a stronger substance. Another man for allegedly sourcing the pills that were sold to him, and the details of the third man's relation to the case has not been revealed. It wasn't until later this year that a trial date was officially set for November 16, 2021. The defendants are fighting that they allegedly continued to sell the narcotics after his passing with full knowledge of the risk of their products. Coming into number 8 is Brittany Murphy. She had a huge breakthrough in her career with her role in Clueless, and then continued to win over the hearts in other movies like Uptown Girls, 8 Mile, and Girl Interrupted. Fans were both shocked and saddened to hear the news back in 2009 that the bubbly actress was found deceased in her Los Angeles home. It was at 8 a.m. on December 20th, 2009 that the LA Fire Department responded to a medical request after it was reported that she apparently collapsed in her bathroom. Reports say that firefighters tried to resuscitate her on the scene and that she had to be transported to the hospital when they were unable to do so. Once she was at the hospital, she officially passed away at 10:04 a.m. after going into cardiac arrest at just 32 years old. A few months later, rumors began to spread saying that she had overdosed after the coroner released a report saying that she had been taking a variety of over-the-counter and prescription medications. However, all the substances were legal and her passing was ruled to be an accident. Sliding into number 7 is Cameron Boyce. He first became a child star when playing Luke Ross on the Disney Channel TV series Jessie. From there, he went on to star in movies like Grown Ups and Descendants. Fans were devastated back in 2019 when his family released a statement online saying that the 20-year-old had passed away in his home in Los Angeles due to a seizure, which was the result of an ongoing medical condition. They revealed he had recently been diagnosed with epilepsy and said that he was being treated for it. The tragic news came on July 19th, and his Descendants movie was set to premiere on July 22nd. Disney decided to cancel the red carpet premiere event and honor him in a different way. With permission from his family, Disney Channel announced that they will dedicate the telecast of Descendants 3 in his memory. They also made a donation in his name to the Thirst Project, which is a non-profit that Cameron was heavily involved in that provides communities with safe drinking water. Up next, number 6, we have Selena. Just a few months ago, Netflix released the second part of the biographical series explaining her life and her tragic passing. The series is called Selena the Series and focuses on her legacy, music, and controversy surrounding her life being taken. She was just 23 years old when it was revealed that she had been fatally struck by a bullet in a motel room in Texas back in 1995. There was a big scandal at the time, which led to a woman named Yolanda Saldivar pulling the trigger on Selena. Yolanda was the president of Selena's fan club and manager of her Selena's Inc. boutiques in Texas, and was caught embezzling money from Selena's empire. Reports say Yolanda lured Selena to the motel by promising to finally turn over relevant financial documents. But things got heated and an argument broke out, and when Selena saw that she had a weapon in her purse, she tried to flee from the room. It was then that Yolanda pulled the trigger and struck her in the back. The Netflix series apparently reveals footage from this night. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Cory Monteith. The young actor was at the height of his career, taking on the lead role in the successful TV series series Glee. He was also known for being Lea Michele's boyfriend, who met each other on the set of Glee in 2008 and became love interests on the show and in real life. They were actually together when he sadly passed away on July 13th, 2013 at just 31 years old. Reports released details saying he was found in his room at the Fairmont Hotel in Vancouver. He was scheduled to check out that day, but when he didn't, hotel staff entered his room and discovered his body. His autopsy was later released and it stated that he passed away from a mix of illegal substances and alcohol, but that it appeared to be accidental. After his passing, the production team postponed Glee's 5th season and continued it just months later. On October 10th, 2013, the show aired an episode as a tribute to Cory, which focused on the passing of his character in the show. That way they could continue to talk about his memory in future episodes and seasons. At number 4, we have River Phoenix, the older brother of the successful actor Joaquin Phoenix. River's acting career started when he was just 10 years old when he began working in television commercials. His acting career included 24 films and television appearances, which led to the teen idol status, and he rose to fame. He wasn't just into acting though, he was also known for his singing and guitar skills. In 1988, he got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor in Supporting Role for his role in Running on Empty. The following year, he got a role as young Indiana Jones in Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. His career was at its peak as he continued to book one role after another. Unfortunately, in October 1993, River collapsed outside of an LA nightclub in front of his brothers, Rain and Joaquin. They rushed him to the hospital where doctors announced that he'd officially passed away at just 23 years old. The New York Times shared the report that the coroner found a fatal amount of illegal substances in his system. In the 3rd spot is Aaliyah. She was known for being a triple threat, being successful at singing, acting, and modeling. People were shocked to hear the news that she had passed away in a tragic airplane accident on August 25th, 2001. She was just 22 years old at the time and had been in the Bahamas filming a music video for the single Rock the Boat. She was on the plane with 7 other passengers and the pilot, all of whom passed away in this accident. They all boarded a small plane that was set to return back to Florida, but the aircraft was said to be smaller than the original aircraft that was meant to fly them. Reports say one pilot was warning them there was too much weight for a safe flight since they brought a bunch of filming equipment with them as well. It was later revealed it was actually 700 pounds overweight and the pilot was actually not qualified to fly that aircraft. The aircraft took off and only 200 meters away from the runway. After just a few seconds, it crashed. Her autopsy later revealed that she passed away from severe burns and a fatal blow to the head. Next up at number 2 is Avicii. The DJ was an award-winning musician at the height of his career when he passed away at the age of 28 years old. The horrific news was announced on April 20th, 2018 and revealed that he had taken his own life. The official cause was reported to be blood loss from self-inflicted wounds. Although he had reached insane amounts of fame, success, and wealth, behind the scenes he was struggling with anxiety, depression, and an alcohol addiction. After the news broke, his family confirmed the news that he had in fact taken his own life and shared that he was battling his addiction for years, which is why he quit touring in 2016. In the documentary Avicii: True Stories, it showed that his addiction had put him in the hospital while he was in Australia on tour. In the documentary, Avicii spoke about it and said he was given medication for pancreatitis and started taking 20 pills a day and got addicted to them. Reports say that he was actually working on new music at the time of his passing. Last but not least, at number 1, we have Amy Winehouse. It was in July of 2011 that the news broke that the singer had passed away at 27 years old. She was known for her unique voice and the soul and jazz in her music, which stood out against the usual pop music that we hear all the time. She had been very candid about her struggle with substance abuse and alcohol addiction, releasing the hit song Rehab in 2006, which has lived on as one of the most iconic songs to this day. But her addiction is what eventually led to her passing. It was said that at the time she was sober from substances, but that she turned to alcohol more instead because of it. Her body was found in the afternoon that day in her London home. Reports say that she was found by paramedics fully clothed with a laptop on her bed and empty bottles of vodka on the floor. The coroner revealed that she had a fatal amount of alcohol in her blood, that it shut down her respiratory system, and her passing was deemed to be alcohol poisoning. Dr. Shirley Radcliffe said that she voluntarily consumed the alcohol, which was a deliberate act that just took an unexpected turn. Also guys, she has a documentary out on Crave, I believe. I just watched it last weekend and it is incredible. You should watch it.
Starting off this countdown, we have Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain was a singer-songwriter for Nirvana. Sadly, he had an ongoing struggle with addiction, and depression. As a result, he tried to take his life a number of times. He finally managed to do so in 1994. After skipping out of a Los Angeles rehab facility where he was trying to get over his addiction, he flew home to Seattle and shot himself in the head. He died on April 5th of 1994. His last words were found in his final note. In the note, he quoted Neil Young's lyrics and said, "It's better to burn out than fade away." Moving on at number 9, we have Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison was the vocalist of the legendary rock band The Doors. In fact, he is said to be one of the most iconic people in rock and roll history. In July of 1971, Jim was in Paris with Pamela Courson, his partner at the time. On July 3rd, 1971, Pamela found him dead in the bathtub. The cause of death was said to be heart failure, but an autopsy was never performed on him. That's because they were in French territory and the French police found no evidence of foul play, so no autopsy was done. So it means his cause of death could have been something else entirely. In fact, Pamela thinks he died from a heroin overdose since he inhaled it thinking it was coke. Whereas Marianne Faithfull thinks her boyfriend killed him, making it murder. That's why there's so many conspiracies surrounding his death. And honestly, we might never know his real cause of death. In our 8th spot today, we have Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin is said to be one of rock's biggest pioneers. She had some pretty iconic songs like Cry Baby and Piece of My Heart. And she was another artist with such a unique voice. Sadly, on October 4th, 1970, Janis was found dead of a suspected heroin overdose in her Hollywood hotel room. She was found after failing to show for a scheduled recording session. Now, there were efforts made to get her into rehab, but sadly, there wasn't much success there. When she was found, she apparently was clutching her cigarettes in one hand and her money in the other. In our 7th spot, we have Robert Johnson. Now, there's a wild legend surrounding legendary blues singer Robert Johnson. It's said that he sold his soul to the devil at a local crossroads to become successful. I guess the only catch was he was going to die early on in life. On August 16, 1938, he mysteriously passed away. Now, I say mysteriously because there's no official cause of death. His death was not reported publicly, and then 30 years later, a man named Gail Dean Wardlow, who was a musicologist, decided to look into his death. That's when he found his death certificate, but it only had a date and location, no official cause of death. Now, some say he died after drinking whiskey laced with strychnine, which is a very, very strong poison, and only a small amount is needed to kill or wound someone. Others say he died from pneumonia. In our 6th spot today, we have Brian Jones. Born in 1942, Brian Jones is the original founder and leader of the Rolling Stones. He was the one that apparently formed the band and named it, and even chose the members of the band and what music they played. So he had a huge impact on this band. Bassist Bill Wyman said, and I quote, "He got us gigs, he was very influential, very important, and then slowly lost it, and just kind of wasted it and blew it all away." Eventually, Jones started to turn to alcohol and drugs, which led him to have nasty mood swings and developing depression. On July 3rd of 1969, he was found at the bottom of his swimming pool. Apparently, his cause of death was by misadventure, so maybe he was very drunk or very high and stumbled into his pool and wasn't able to get back out. Others, on the other hand, believe that he was murdered. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Anton Yelchin. Anton Yelchin was an American actor. You might recognize him from the Star Trek movie series or from the movie Green Room. Either way, he was a great actor gone far too soon. And the way he left this world was quite dramatic. So on June 19th, 2016, he got out of his Jeep while in his driveway of his house when the car rolled backwards, pinning him against a brick pillar and his fence. By the time his friend found him, he had already passed away. He died from blunt traumatic asphyxia. In our 4th spot today, we have Thuy Trang. Thuy Trang was a Vietnamese-American actress known for her role as the Yellow Power Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. After that, she went on to star in The Crow, City of Angels, and Spy Hard. It would have been nice to see what else her career had for her. Sadly, on September 3rd, 2001, while on her way to her friend's wedding, in which she was a bridesmaid, the driver lost control of the car. It swerved off the road and crashed into a rock face. She died shortly after the crash. In our 3rd spot today, we have Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was an American football player in the NFL for 3 seasons. However, in 2013, he was arrested for the death of his friend, Odin Lloyd. In the end, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. On April 19, 2017, while in jail, Hernandez took his own life. But before doing so, he apparently cut his finger and wrote John 3:16 on the wall with his own blood. He also wrote it on his forehead as well. Now, John 3:16 said that God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall never die but have eternal life. Not only that, but another report said that he drew an unfinished pyramid with the all-seeing eye on the wall as well. So, it's a little creepy. I don't know why he did that. It's open to interpretation. Maybe he was a part of the Illuminati. In our second spot, we have Amy Winehouse. Born in 1983, Amy Winehouse was another very talented musician. Her voice was incredible. It was so unique and raw. But Amy sadly suffered from an alcohol addiction. On July 23, 2011, Amy passed away from accidental alcohol poisoning, which took many by surprise because they thought that she had kicked the habit and she was turning her life around. Her body was found by her bodyguard. The bodyguard found her laying in the same position as she was a couple hours prior, so when he checked on her, that's when he knew that she had gone. And in our number one spot today, we have Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix will be remembered as one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Sadly, he also struggled with alcohol and abuse. On September 18, 1970, Jimi mixed alcohol with several other types of narcotics, which he had done before and he had lived. But this day, he mixed alcohol with sleeping pills, and he took way too many. Apparently, he took 9. As a result, he passed out, but not before vomiting. He ended up choking on his own vomit and sadly died. His death was ruled accidental.
Starting us off at number 10, Paul Walker. Known for his role in the Fast and Furious franchise, Paul Walker sadly passed away in November of 2013 after being involved in a car crash at the age of 40. He was a father, outdoorsman, adrenaline junkie, and an amazing actor. His death came to an abrupt end at his charity fundraiser, where he was raising money for relief efforts for the victims of the devastating Philippines typhoon. Those who witnessed the crash report Paul getting into the car with his friend behind the wheel as they took off in the red Porsche. They crashed just a few blocks away from the venue and the car burst into flames. At number 9, Michael Jackson. Where were you when you heard the news? The world stood still for a moment when news broke of Michael Jackson's passing on June 25, 2009. Michael was only 50 when he died of cardiac arrest. The King of Pop had just been rehearsing for his upcoming tour when the tragedy struck. His personal physician had administered lethal doses of propofol and benzodiazepine, which led him to fall unconscious and into cardiac arrest. Michael Jackson was pronounced dead hours after being found in his bedroom. His physician Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Many of Michael's fans continue to support him to this day, and he is greatly missed. Coming in at number 8, Heath Ledger. Critically acclaimed actor Heath Ledger passed away January 22, 2008 in his apartment in Soho, New York. Ledger died following an accidental overdose on prescription drugs at the age of just 28 years old. His death came shortly after filming Wrapped on the Dark Knight film, in which Heath played the Joker. In interviews after wrapping up his Joker character, he revealed that the role was quite hard for him and that he was prescribed drugs to deal with the pain and insomnia. Following his death, he was heavily scrutinized as many people believed that he was abusing illegal substances. Heath was given a memorial service in New York and LA, and then was buried in Perth next to his grandparents. Coming in at number 7, Tupac Shakur. Tupac was a powerhouse in the rap community in the 90s. His career flourished until his death in September 1996, after being shot by 6 assailants. Tupac spent 6 days in the hospital following the shooting, where he later died from his injuries. To this day, the people who shot Tupac have never been identified or arrested, and his case remains cold. Although there have been many theories as to what happened, nothing's been proven and justice remains to be served. His most popular album, All Eyes on Me, continues to be enjoyed by fans, and a biographical film has also been made retelling his life, also by the same name. In at number 6, Chi Chi DeVayne. RuPaul's Drag Race alum Chi Chi DeVayne passed away in August of this year after ongoing health problems. Chi Chi, whose real name is Xavion Davenport, had been battling a lung infection since July. Her illness turned into pneumonia, and she was later readmitted to hospital in August, where she later died at the age of 34. Chi Chi's death has greatly impacted the drag community, and many have taken to the internet to show support for Chi Chi's loved ones, as well as to show their fond memories of the drag queen. Chi Chi's legacy has inspired so many, and she will be greatly missed. Halfway through at number 5, Mac Miller. Rapper Mac Miller passed away September 7, 2018 from a drug overdose. Mac was found in his home in LA after a suspected drug overdose at the age of 26. Mac had always been vocal about his problems in the past and also struggled with his mental health. His death came not too long after his breakup with singer Ariana Grande. Upon Mac's death, an autopsy revealed that fentanyl, cocaine, and alcohol were found in his system. Because fentanyl is known to be a very fatal drug, an investigation was launched in order to find out how Mac was given such a lethal drug. It was found that the drugs Mac had received shortly before his death were laced with the fatal substance, and this led to his passing. The individuals who were responsible for selling the drugs were apprehended by police and were later charged and arrested. Coming in at number 4, Cameron Boyce. Disney Channel star Cameron Boyce passed away July 6, 2019, at the age of just 20 years old. Cameron, who had been dealing with a chronic medical condition, suffered a seizure in his sleep, which ended up being fatal. When paramedics found Boyce, he was unresponsive and they were unable to resuscitate the actor. His death came just before the premiere of the movie Descendants 3 and during filming of his new HBO series Fletcher. His death prompted an outpouring of love and support for his family as they remembered how he brought them joy in so many memorable moments on and off screen. Cameron's passing came too soon as he showed so much potential and talent, and he could have seen so much success. At number 3, Naya Rivera. Former Glee star Naya Rivera passed away in July of this year at the age of 33. Naya's death was the result of an accidental drowning. Naya and her son were enjoying a day out on a boat when they decided to go swimming. The area in which they were has reportedly difficult swimming conditions, and so when Naya was trying to save her son and get him back onto their boat, she ran out of energy and couldn't keep herself afloat. She mustered up enough energy to get her son back to safety, but she didn't have enough to save herself and she drowned in the lake. Shortly after the incident took place, reports came of a child by himself on a boat, and when authorities arrived on the scene, they began the search for Naya. The rescue mission took days and a lot of equipment, but her body was later found on July 13th. Naya's passing came on the exact day of fellow Glee star Cory Monteith's passing just 7 years later. Fans showed an outpouring of support for the Glee star and hailed her a hero for being able to save her son. In at number 2, Kobe Bryant. Basketball legend Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash on January 26th of this year at the age of 41. Kobe and his daughter Gianna and 7 others, including Gianna's teammates and the pilot, were all killed from blunt force trauma from the crash. The helicopter was flying in poor weather conditions as thick fog and clouds were reported that day. Witnesses say that they heard the chopper overhead followed by a loud noise and then silence. Then the hill in which they crashed engulfed in flames. When authorities made their way to the crash site, there were no survivors. Kobe left behind a family and friends in mourning. At his memorial service, the world watched as Kobe's closest friends and family grieved the loss of such an icon. Known for his basketball career and also his service to his community, the world lost one of the greats far too soon. Finally at number 1, Chadwick Boseman. On August 28th, the world lost actor Chadwick Boseman to cancer at the age of 43. Chadwick, who was known for his many amazing on-screen roles like Black Panther in the Marvel movies, Jackie Robinson, and James Brown, brought so many iconic black icons to character on the big screen. He was known as a hero to so many, not only for providing an incredible role model for young black kids to look up to, but also because of his resilience following his battle with cancer. Chadwick had been fighting through a 4-year-long battle with colon cancer at the time of his death. Through his diagnosis and treatment stemming back to 2016, he brought us so many performances and no one knew about what he was going through behind the scenes. Although people ridiculed his appearance and dramatic weight loss towards the end, Boseman kept his chin up and fought as hard as he could. I know what it's like to watch someone battle this kind of cancer, so to find out that he was doing all of that while continuing to give 100% in his performances makes him a hero to me.